Hey everybody, hope you are doing good today. I wanted to share something because I got an email from the Edge Foundation, which is a nonprofit, research-based, just kind of resource for people. But they sent a really really interesting, in my opinion, I guess, article about ADHD and creativity and the way they explain it, why neurodivergent brains work differently with creativity, I thought was really great. And they use some terms that I think people hear a lot, or at least I do, and you don't necessarily know what it means. And so, article and like fun facts and everything mean a little bit something different. So I'm going to actually share my screen. I'm going to share this article with you because I like it. And again, this is the Edge Foundation, and it's all about how ADHD fuels the creative spark. And so it says creativity is often described as the ability to connect seemingly unrelated ideas in new meaningful ways. And so it's neuroscientists studying creativity have long known that it depends on a flexible and dynamic brain network. And then it talks about divergent thinking right here, which is generating many possibilities, which um, you might hear described as like you give somebody with ADHD an idea, and all of a sudden they've got like 12 different ones, and you're just like, where the heck did that come from? And so divergent thinking, generating many possibilities, and then convergent thinking would be then narrowing those down to the best solution. And a lot of times, ADHD people want to explore all of their different ideas instead of like taking that list and being like, okay, which ones are like the golden nuggets kind of thing. Um, so it talks about creative thinking, including openness to new experiences, comfort with ambiguity, curiosity, and willingness to take mental risks. And so then it goes into the brain wired for exploration. And looking at the neuroscience of ADHD, ADHD brains are wired for non-linear exploration. It comes down to ADHD brains or neurodivergent brains showing a difference in the dopamine pathways that regulate attention and motivation. And those are kind of like two key things because ADHD is known for lack of attention and um, sometimes laziness, which it is not. That's how it looks, but it is not. And I'll never forget, I was doing coaching years ago. I was the coachee, and the lady, the coach said, asked me if I had ADHD, and I was like, no. And my brain immediately went to like hyperactive, can't focus on anything. And she goes, well, they're also it's a lot also the ability to hyper focus. And I didn't really understand, like I kind of brushed it off at the time, but they can absolutely pay attention to something. It's the regulation. And then ADHD is all about motivation and it's an interest-based nervous system. So finding what motivates that person to then do that certain thing and be creative. So it goes on to say, while these variations can make sustained focus challenging in structured settings, um, like some maybe medical professionals, very structured, or um, there's a lot of jobs these days that structure is good, but a lot of ADHD people need a tiny bit of flexibility with structure, and they can do it, but it takes them a lot of energy to do that. So, where was I? Variations can sustain focus challenging in structured settings. They also support greater sensitivity to novelty and reward. There's a reason that, like, in our instant gratification society today, um, we like the new fun creative ideas, the novelty of it, something cool that we're interested that we want to learn and reward. Like long-term rewards are great and like that's kind of the way of the world, but we also need something that is like an instantaneous reward. Um, so like telling my kids, for instance, that like, hey, if you keep doing this for 2 weeks, you're gonna get this reward. They need something like within the half hour to say like positive reinforcement, hey, good job, guys. And they need that to then get them to the big reward because otherwise they lose interest. So that's why it says greater sensitivity to novelty and reward, two key ingredients for creativity. And it says the ADHD brain tends to wander and associate freely, activating border networks of ideas. Um, this ability to toggle between unrelated concepts, also called divergent association, often leads to unconventional insights and breakthroughs, which a lot of the time is what like neurodivergent people are known for, or one of the traits of it, when they get in that like hyper-focused zone, or when all of a sudden they're like, "Ooh, I have a great idea." Um, they like it's a very non-linear path, and so like we're kind of all over the place, like beautiful mind kind of stuff, and you need your your whole drawn out board with all the ideas. And so the ability to talk about toggle between unrelated concepts, I love doing that because I think like all my weird life experiences like help me. I can use those to then relate to really weird stuff, and some people have been like, I've never thought about it like that. I'm like, oh, well, okay, well, here you go. And like light bulbs go off. So it talks about neuroimaging studies support this, and people with ADHD show greater connectivity between the brain's default mode network, or DMN, and the executive control network, which is responsible for that goal-directed behavior. And a key point, I think, is in most people, these networks suppress one another. So they kind of keep each other regulated, right? Or kind of balance each other out. But in the ADHD brain, they're like working together simultaneously, and it's like two egging each other on. And so, rabbit hole, and like they're doing that simultaneous thing. The result can be a mind that is both playful and purposeful, hence where some really crazy ideas come out um, that could be really great for innovation. So that explains a lot why like rigid classrooms or highly repetitive jobs, like doing the same thing over and over, can make people feel like caged and stifled. And that's why if you have a ADHD person, they may be like, I need something new. And a lot of people you'll see, they need stimulating concepts, new projects, new cool ideas. You need to let them be creative with it, designing new things, entrepreneurship, research, or we're known for loving to figure out the problem, and coming up with creative solutions because we get so hyper focused, and it's like, okay, why won't this work? So that hopefully that kind of connects some things. And let's see, harnessing the rhythm. It's not definitely not a deficit in attention. It is our attention just focused on different things. And so harnessing that rhythm, I love this. And it says, for those who live with ADHD, understanding this link, its brain chemistry and creativity can be such a huge thing because the narrative then goes to like, I just can't focus, which a lot of ADHD people have been told their entire lives, like, why can't you focus? Why can't you do this? Man, they just can't focus. Even like hearing it from a conversation talking about us, like, they just can't focus. I can't seem to get them to focus on this. To you need a different structure to focus. You need a different environment to focus, or maybe you need spurts of focus because I focus differently. And by learning how to channel that and learning what overstimulates them or asking them, hey, what overstimulates you, you can figure out how they work and how they work best. And then, like, their production and productivity changes drastically. Um, okay, so, it says a mind built for innovation. Creativity isn't something that people with ADHD occasionally stumble into. It is very much woven into how the ADHD brain works. And it harnessing, again, like it says, is not about suppression. It is about figuring out how their brain works and maybe even when it works best and taking that and plugging it in and around them. And so, as I said prior, Edge Foundation is all about research-based things. And so you can see all the references here from Chat, Psychology Today, Attitude Magazine, which I talk about a lot. Also, research-based, neurosciencenews.com, Science Direct. So good references. So I will put the link to this page in the notes, but I wanted to go over this because with all of the news right now, I think this helps explain a lot, whether you're talking about kids, like smaller kids, whether you're talking about like, high school, college, young adult-ish age to those in the workforce or your employees, your managers, like it's still, their brain still has that function. That's still how they're wired. And honestly, sometimes they might not know it yet um, if they haven't had a diagnosis, or maybe, yeah, a lot of people are undiagnosed and unaware because it didn't really become um, kind of a known thing until somewhat recently. So something to think about, but hopefully that helps kind of shed some light on um, what makes and helps ADHD brains to be curious and how our brains work as far as like giving us an idea or people can always say like, I see your wheels turning, I see your brain working. And it's that like giving me the concept and then me being like, oh, I have all these different ideas. But then sometimes it takes me a few minutes to like fully complete and think through all those different ideas, which is why I'm like, yes, I do have an idea, but give me a few seconds to actually, finish this trail and like think through this because sometimes I'll be like, no, that won't work. Sorry. Or, oh, yeah, maybe this will work, but I need somebody else to kind of talk this through with me and essentially like poke some holes in it. So I thought that explained it really great. And then, of course, you get my my narrative and my um, super fast talking and excitement because that I love that stuff. And that's talking about me, how I work, and really helps you get into the mind and understand people with ADHD. So have a great day. Hope this helped, and I will see you next time.